Once World War II ended, people felt they could breathe freely again. But what many did not know was that a few months before the end of World War II, on February 4th, 1945, during the Yalta Conference, a new war started, the Cold War. Though Germany was under close inspection, new superpowers arose from the ashes of war: the United States of America and the Soviet Union. These nations felt they were superior to others, and that what the other nation or other side believed in was wrong. As a form of safety and reassurance, both sides created their own treaties and pacts. USA and 15 other Western countries formed the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, also known as NATO, with which the nations agreed to support each other when under a threat of attack.
The treaty we are signing here today is evidence of the path they will follow. If there is anything certain today, if there is anything inevitable in the future, it is the will of the people of the world for freedom and for peace.
As a counteraction to this treaty, USSR and 7 other Eastern nations signed the Warsaw Pact, with which the nations agreed to Soviet military supporting all nations in the pact. As both sides were threatened by the pacts, a new and dangerous aspect of war was introduced: the spying game. Both sides used spies to acquire knowledge of what the other was planning and doing. The job was clearly dangerous for both sides. The spies had to live with the constant fear of being caught and a small chance of being freed. It was one of the most difficult occupations of all time. However, Hollywood and other film industries saw it as a thrilling and entertaining story. The spy game inspired many stories about double agents who fell in love with a woman from the other side. One of these stories of romantic thriller spy films are James Bond movies.
I need 007.
Oh, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
All Bond movies since the 60s have been based on the spy game, inspired, of course, on the Cold War. But did Hollywood portray the glamorous life of a spy correctly? The answer is, of course not. Since the formation of the Soviet Union, the United States of America has had their intelligence agencies place numerous spies in the Soviet Union. They retrieved a great deal of information that led to what the Soviet Union was doing and what their plans were, an aspect that was crucial for the Americans during the Cold War. One example of an American spy was Moe Berg. He was in fact a former baseball player who served as a spy during the Second World War and returned to action in 1952. He gathered some of his old contacts to infiltrate Soviet scientists' labs, where he collected information on Soviet atomic science as to how they were progressing in nuclear warfare. On the other hand, there were also American spies who betrayed their own country. George Abramovich Koval was an American who, during the height of the Cold War, was one such person. Though American, he was a Soviet intelligence officer. Koval infiltrated the Manhattan Project and helped to drastically reduce the time it took for Russia to develop nuclear weapons with the secrets he stole. Punishment for espionage in the United States were harsh and involved a quickly issued death penalty, especially the cases that involved betraying one's own country. Since the late 20s, the Soviet Union used Russians and people of American origin to perform espionage activities in the United States. During the Cold War, it was mainly the task of the KGB in the Soviet Union to hire spies and pay for their betrayal. All spies took a great risk when entering any of the spies' agencies, because if they were caught, there would be horrible consequences, such as mental or physical torture. However, the recompense for being a spy was major. The money that they would get in return was a lot, as the job would require a lot of risk. The Soviets were very strategic when picking their spies. They knew what they were looking for. They also trained them very well and picked only the best, as being a spy took a lot of courage. It was easy to crack under pressure or reveal secrets if caught. Not a lot of spies that the Soviets used were Russians themselves, as their English would not be good enough. All Soviet spies were very loyal, and even after their duties were over, they did not reveal any information, as this was one of the most important responsibilities of a Soviet spy. A lot of spies for the Soviets were British, such as the Cambridge Five. They were recruited by the KGB during the 30s in the secret society of the Apostles of the University of Cambridge. Spies that were accused to be the Cambridge Five were Michael Whitney Straight, Nathaniel Rothschild, Lewis Daly, and Guy Little. But the fifth spy has always been unknown. A life of a spy was hard. It was nothing like the Bond series portrayed. The job required mental stability, physical strength, and a lot of gut. Both sides needed spies to know what the others were doing and to keep the race going. The Cold War spies contributed a lot to their countries in those days. Some stole secrets, some stole plans, others watched the enemy very carefully. One could say without the spying game, the Cold War would have been even more destructive and would have lasted a longer period of time.